Alright guys, as I previously mentioned, we were going to do some work to the truck. Now we do have a lot of parts coming in from the boys over at Power Driven Diesel, but first things first, I got to send out the old Josh McCormick special injectors back to them because they've been in the truck for 5 years and it's just time to refresh them. We're not going to go any bigger because 5x16s are more than enough. So we're going to go ahead and just have them take a look at the nozzles, make sure that pop test them and all that stuff to make sure they are ready to go for the remainder of the season. All right, from the boys over Power Driven Diesel, they sent us out this injector puller kit. I've never had one. I usually just use a slide hammer and then struggle like a fat kid in dodgeball between cylinders 5 and 6. So this is everything you're going to need right in this kit here. There's the part number right there. They're going to send you out the spacer, custom washer that actually fits on the spacer, and then the nut depending on what size injector you have. So this guy right here should fit right on top there. It's right on the injector and we should be able to pop that unit right on out. So we're going to go ahead and get these injectors pulled. So, this aspect of it, you've probably been down here once or twice before, but 15/16 for the lockdown or hold down nut for the injector. And then we're going to go ahead and show you just how easy it is to use Power Driven Diesel's injector puller tool. Boys, take a look at this injector. She's look at that. That's like 50, 60 passes, a little daily driving. But the tool did its job, boys. Pulled it right on out. So we're going to go ahead and pull the rest of the 5 that we got remaining, and then we're going to get ready to ship them out to Power Driven Diesel. All right, guys, for the next installment, we have some more parts, more tooling we need. All right, so we're bringing in Power Driven Diesel once again for their 4K governor spring kit. And Greg Turner over at GT Turbochargers, he's got this really nice governor spring cover for the housing. As well, you can hit him up over at GT Turbochargers, pick one of those up. This is a nice billet aluminium piece. As well as, boom, we have the adjustment tool that you're going to need versus using a screwdriver or what have you. I'll go ahead and unbox this. There's your part number right there. And this is what you need, boys. Let's go ahead and unbox it. I'll show you more about it. All right, so this is a fairly simple tool, but as you guys can tell right here, it's nice, gives you the length to work, and it's actually notched for the nut that actually holds your idle spring as well as the retainer and all that in place. Again, this will be shown more when we get to actually doing the install. Now, there are about 15 million videos about how to do governor springs on your P-pump 12 valve, 24 valve, whatever, on P-pump engines. So I'm not going to go super in depth on it. I will just show you pretty much the removal and any install, and that's really about it, and then how to set it. Aside from that, Power Driven's got 3 or 4 videos on how to do it, and so does the rest of the world. So we're going to go ahead and get into it. We're going to get the governor arm lever out of here. And I'm sure you guys have all heard the videos about the keyway. Alright, so right there, up top there is a notch, and that's where the keyway goes. Let me show you the keyway. Alright, so your keyway right there is pretty much not going to move, especially on a truck that's got almost 30 years and God knows how many miles on it. But if you need to, put some painter's tape around it or something like that to hold it in place while you get down to the governor cover, governor housing cover right there, which is also, it's a 22 millimeter. So we're going to go ahead and take that cap off and we'll go ahead and expose the springs. Here's the old one. Now there is a sealing ring right in here that we're going to go ahead and pull out because we're not going to need it because of the new cover from old Greg Turner. Now, if you guys see right there, this is the factory O-ring that is, as you can tell, flattened, crushed, and came out in multiple pieces. Now, the replacement one, as you can tell, is no longer a 22 millimeter, and it's also, I guess, a nice, way nicer piece, and it's got an O-ring seal just like factory. So we're going to go ahead and do the governor spring install. Again, you guys have probably seen this 1.5 million times over, so we're just going to bar the engine over until we get to the first one, and then we're going to go ahead and I'll show you the install real quick and down and dirty, and then we're going to go further into the install. Just a couple of things of note in barring over the Cummins engines. So I don't have injectors in this right now, so it'll bar over fairly easily. But you can try to go off the alternator and try to bar the engine over, or right there in the bell housing, you also have an area you can bar the engine over. Or if you're a cool kid on the block like me, you can have the barring tool from the guys over at Power Driven Diesel, which is just a 15 millimeter right in the center there, and easily can bar the engine over. Alright guys, now you see we are at our first set of governor springs here. Now we can break out the old handy dandy power driven tool. Woo! And we can go ahead and loosen up that lock, screw, nut, whatever you want to call it. And then we're going to go ahead and start disassemble, and I'll go ahead and show you guys once it's all pulled out of the pump. Alright, so let's take a minute and do the breakdown here of, this is a traditional 3K kit here. This was a BD kit. And pretty much this is what you get, and you get to reuse the factory lower retainer. So this is getting obviously pulled aside there. So you have your idle spring washer, then you have the idle spring, obviously the lock nut and retainer for the upper portion of the spring. Now you bring in the 4K kit from the boys at Power Driven Diesel, and they give you that lower seat and all the springs. So basically you're going to go ahead and take this, boom, 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 and then the lower idle spring goes on top of the wear, I believe it's a wear retainer that's on the lower portion of the governor spring housing. And this is how it would go fully assembled on the truck. Alright, now in setting your spring tension, you want to go ahead and preload these to, I would say, 4 hard clicks. Because you're going to notice when you do these, it's going to have one soft click, and then you're going to go into 1, 2, 3, or whatever it is, hard clicks. Now you want to preload these to 4 hard clicks, and then back it off to a 3rd click. So basically you're going to be at a hard 3 click. Now you can do this a number of ways, boys. You can do a depth mic and try to get the protrusion from the stud out, or you can just literally just set it to whatever you like. The softer you go with your locks, so if you go 2 clicks, it may idle lower, more like factory, and the throttle response might be a little bit softer. So again, this is all based on preference. I had this set initially at 2 clicks. We're going to give 3 clicks a shot, and worst case scenario, I have to come back in here and I got to soften this up a little bit or adjust my idle. So this is where we're going to set them to 3 hard clicks. Alright, so now we got the one done. Got to rotate the engine back over again and do the other side. You guys don't need to see that. And then we're going to go ahead and install the GT turbochargers cover, and then we can reassemble the pump, because all our pump work we were going to do is done. Boys, this is a damn shame that you never get to see this aside from right now. So that cover right there threads on perfectly, 9/16 nut head. And hit Greg Turner up over GT turbochargers. He sells them right off his site. And let's just say perfect. Good O-ring, threads in easily, and again, it's billet aluminum. You ain't got to worry about it anymore. Boys, so we're a few days after we thought we were going to get the injectors in, but we still got them in. That's right, boys. See the old name right there? Let's get these units unboxed. Alright guys, you see them all right here, and the injector installation kit they send you, which is basically the dust seals, the horseshoe seals for the return, and also the copper crush washers in various heights there to set it depending on what your piston bowl design is. So I'm going to show you guys the videos that the guys who are Power Driven Diesel sent me, and I'll go ahead and explain everything once the video's over.
60 out.
Basically, from what I was told, essentially when they first got the injectors, a couple of them were opening up early and a couple of them were opening up late. So basically, to get them all back squared, they went ahead and re-shimmed them, and then they leak checked them to make sure they were good to go. So there was no issues found aside from just needing to be re-shimmed so they would all pop at the same time correctly. So let's go ahead and get these units installed on the old street tractor. All right, guys, so I wanted to cover a couple of things with the injector install that may have been missed in the previous video. So the first and things first, obviously we got these nice, newish, clean injectors from the boys over Power Driven Diesel. Now they send you in the kit 4 different size copper crush washers. Now you're going to, depending on your bowl situation, your piston bowl situation, that's going to determine what copper washer thickness you're going to use. For us, we're going to use the thinnest ones in the group. There you go. And just like everything else so far, we're going to use some Hot Shots assembly lube just to kind of spray on that there copper crush washer just to hold it in place while we get it in place. So we're going to go ahead and finish up the install. We've got a couple more injectors left to do, and then we can do the lines and all the other fun stuff, and then we can actually fire this thing. So let's get to it. Other things I want to bring up. So you have the nut itself. This gets torqued to 50 foot-pounds. What I do is put a little bit of the assembly lube on here as well to install a little bit easier, torques down a little bit better. And then also the dust seal, this guy right here. A lot of people have issues with installing these. A flat blade screwdriver, a little bit of assembly lube on there as well, makes it a lot easier. So again, just some other tips and tricks that might help somebody out.
The idle's a little jacked up right now, but got it running, boys.
So I wanted to finish out the video before we move on to the next segment here. We did get the engine running last night. Idle is jacked up basically because of, more than likely, I over torqued the governor springs. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I usually kept them at like 2 clicks. I decided I wanted to go 3 just so I could have a little more snappy throttle, and I think it inevitably ended up hurting me. So now I have to go back into the governor housing and probably go a click or so down to get it back to a normal 900 RPM idle. The next video series we're going to come out with will be doing the valve train and the head studs. Even though I've already done the head studs in a previous video, we're going to go ahead and knock that out as a part in one grouping of videos. And then the last video will be obviously of us actually test driving the unit and all that. So see you guys in the next video. Oh, by the way, P-Pump the World.